again, thanks for spending a few minutes with me feeding the animals this morning. I was, man, I keep making these goals. I'm going to make more videos because I really enjoy it. I enjoy the video editing process. So I've got a new resolution. Yes, it's only November, not exactly January, but I have a New Year's resolution to be better about video making. So today we have some stuff going on. I've got a tack room that I need to get cleaned out because I'd like to make that into a nicer feed room, get some better lighting, that kind of stuff. We've got Alicia's gonna make some amazing taco soup that we're gonna hopefully include into this video. I've got a few other little projects just kind of prepped because in the next couple of days we're gonna be starting to get serious about the garden. Again, I've said that like 3 years in a row now. Getting that prep for spring. I'd like to get your guys' advice on a few different spots that we may want to put a greenhouse. And if you check out Farming Our Backyard channel, they recorded, I really like their greenhouse. I just think that would work really well with what we got going on here. So I'd like to get that kind of mapped out. And again, maybe get your guys' opinion on where the best place to put it. And I do have regular work to do today that I have to do to pay the bills. So we'll get that done, but I won't record any of that because that's not exciting for you. So anyways, follow us today. We're going to get a few of those things done. And all right, my real work done is finished for the day, or I guess the work that pays me on a consistent basis is done for the day. Now it's time to work on a couple projects. This one project, man, I have been neglecting this thing for a long time. You know, not that you care, but let me tell you a little backstory. I have this memory when I was a kid. My parents were first starting to buy some horses, getting into miniature horses actually, and we went to this one barn, and they, inside their barn, had this really cool room that was like, they had a couch in there and they had a TV and like, you know, the stuff on the walls. And as a, you know, 9 or 10-year-old kid, I always thought that was the coolest thing ever, that it was outside the house and it was kind of this cool area. So fast forward 35 years, 40 years, something like that. We buy this place and we have this, you know, this awesome, big, beautiful barn. You know, it's huge. It's all this space, and lo and behold, one of the stalls in this barn had been converted into, an area that could be a room like that. It's, you know, it's got cement floor. It's all framed in. Only probably about 20% done of really what it needs to be, but secretly, and I've never even told Alisha this, but secretly that was a huge thing for me, thinking, oh, wow, how cool is that? There's could be this room, and I could make this room and kind of live this childhood fantasy that I had. So part number 2 to that story is I am an absolute slob. And there are areas of the property, as you've seen, as you maybe have looked behind me, that are overgrown with weeds and are just generally a mess. And this room is just an embarrassing mess. And I've told myself I wanted to create a video of kind of building up this room, but I wanted to clean it up first so it wouldn't be so embarrassing people to see it. But you know what? That's not what YouTube's about. YouTube's about being vulnerable. So here is this room. We've kind of had our feed in this room, and over the last couple years, and it's just, you know, turned into a mess. The birds have, you know, nested in this room, and so I actually just knocked down a big nest out of the lights that are in there. This room has never been swept. Anyways, it's just a huge mess, and so I'm going to flip this around and show you. Oh, man, it's embarrassing. I can't even believe I'm showing you this. This is this mess of a room. This room is probably, I don't know, it's 10 by 8 maybe. I mean, it's a pretty, you know, it could be a pretty cool little area. But, you know, I've got bags of old feed that I haven't thrown away. Like I say, there's that giant nest that I knocked down that was up in the light fixture. Floor needs to be swept. Feed needs to be better organized. But here is this horrible, disgusting, gross room that needs to be fixed. Because honestly, we got to get this area cleaned up. So that's going to be my little project for this afternoon, at least until the kids get home from school. I'll probably grab Elijah. We're going to change the oil in our car. But for now, I'm going to do a little cleanup in this room. So that's my project for today. I don't know how exciting that is, but I'm going to take you along of cleaning up this room. If you're one of those people that likes to see things in progress, like I am, then maybe you get some enjoyment out of it. Here we go.
Hey guys, so I'm just getting ready to make dinner tonight. I've decided to make a cheesy beef enchilada soup. This is not a recipe I've done before. I found a couple of recipes on Pinterest that were similar, so I'm not one to follow closely a specific recipe, but I'll see things I like and then I kind of will just throw things together. And so I'm just starting right now with just chopping some garlic and some onions. I've got some ground beef going over here on the stovetop, and I'll just be browning that up. I'll just be making taco meat, just ground beef with some beans and like black beans, and then basically once the meat is browned, it's just a matter of kind of dumping everything together. There's some different sauces that I'll be putting, like green enchilada sauce in there, and some cream cheese and a few things to make it kind of creamy. So hopefully it'll turn out good. Usually does, but you never know. So I'm just gonna get started with the chopping, and then so now I'm just over here at the stove top. I've got 2 pounds of ground beef that I'm just gonna break up and brown. I'll be adding some taco seasoning and a few other seasonings to that, some cumin and some chili powder and a little bit of seasoning salt. And then once that is all browned up, I will add some black beans, a couple of cans of black beans and some other things to this, and then we'll add in the beef stock and some cheese, and it'll be good to go. So this is a really easy recipe, comes together pretty quick, and I think the family will like it, but like I said, we shall see.
That's better. Oh man. Well, found one mouse, well, one live mouse, one dead mouse. Lots of old feed, lots of junk. I don't know if you can really get the perspective, but this is actually a pretty good sized little room. It's actually a pretty good area that I think I can reach my grand childhood fantasy of creating it. So anyways, this will be kind of a project in the future, maybe kind of building this room up a little bit. I can't really get a good angle that really kind of shows it, but I mean, this is maybe a little smaller than just like a regular sized bedroom. So anyways, so that's that. So what's next? I've got some old cabinets that I had picked up kind of secondhand. They were part of like a flood damage or something, and they've been just sitting in my barn for quite some time. So I'll probably grab those and put a row of them in here. Kind of kicking around the idea of maybe moving my fly tying operation in here. Kind of making this into just like a little office. If I insulate it, then I can keep it warm in the winter. Not totally sure about cool in the summer, but we'll have to figure that out. Anyways, yeah, kind of cool. Kind of a different thing, little project. I'm sure you have little nooks and crannies in your area that you're trying to get cleaned up. And this was this was one for me that I've had for quite some time. So project at least in progress, not complete.
Okay, so the meat is all brown. I'm just gonna bring it over here and I'm gonna drain the fat off it. I read that if you leave the fat in, which obviously it's not great for health reasons, but if you leave the fat in, the ingredients don't come together as easily. They get kind of, I don't know, they just don't come together as easily. So we're gonna drain this fat off. And then once that's done, I'm gonna put it back in the pot. I will add the black beans and some of the seasonings. And then we'll add the liquid and go from there. Okay, so I've got my taco meat is all done. So I just have some beef broth over here that I've had simmering. And I'm just gonna add that in. I maybe won't use all of it yet. Gonna add our cream cheese. That will take a little while to soften up and kind of smooth out in there. And I have some green enchilada sauce. I kind of just, when I'm making things like this, I kind of just use what I have in my cupboard, especially for like Mexican food. I always keep different enchilada sauces or salsas and different kinds of beans and that kind of thing. And then often I'll just make up some kind of meat. Sometimes it's shredded chicken. And I'll just kind of dump everything together. And usually, like I said, it comes out pretty good. So I just gotta get a couple things out of the freezer. Okay. The other thing we really like in Mexican type soups is hominy. And this was something I wasn't familiar with too long ago, but I found a recipe a while back that added hominy and we really like it. It tastes a lot like corn, but my family seems to like that better. When I put corn in things, they don't seem to like that. But this is kind of, it's like corn, but different. For some reason, everybody likes this better. So we add hominy a lot to our Mexican type dishes. When you can keep the family happy, especially the kids, that's always a plus. So, and recently when I go to buy it at my local Walmart, they only have it in the big huge cans. They don't have the smaller cans like I used to buy. So now I just freeze it. Use what I want, then freeze the rest. And it's ready for other times when I need it. And that will take a little while to unthaw. I may even put a second bag in there, I'm not sure. But if you haven't tried hominy, give it a shot. Like I said, we really like it. Okay, so we're right at the end of finishing up this soup. It's probably taken maybe 20 minutes. Like I said, it's a pretty easy meal to put together. So the last couple of things I'm going to add in is the recipe. One of the recipes I found that looked really good added a whole jar of this queso, which I thought was too much. So I'm just going to add a couple spoonfuls to give it a little bit of that rich cheesy flavor without adding the whole thing and getting all of the maybe not so healthy things from that. So I'm just going to kind of dump a little bit of that in there. That was maybe half the jar, if that, maybe not quite. And then I'm gonna do a little bit of sour cream. And this is just, again, gonna give it a really rich, a little bit of a creamy, kind of thick consistency and flavor. And then after that, it's pretty much done. I'm just gonna let it simmer together for a little while so that the flavors can all come together and it'll be ready. We're waiting for our 2 teenage daughters to come home from work, which they should be walking in any minute. And then once this is ready, we'll sit down and maybe throw some tortilla chips in there, a little bit of cheese on top, and we'll call it good. So